They're buying the only home that's available, maybe in the neighborhood they want or in the zip code they want. So they go to the closing table, they move in, they've got their home, but it's not what they want.
It's time for Company Profiles with your host, Paul Chase.
I want to take a minute to thank our heroes. As a realtor, I understand the importance of finding the perfect property for our everyday heroes. That's why I'm committed to helping first responders, military personnel, healthcare professionals, and teachers save money on their real estate transactions. I believe in giving back to those who serve our community, and that's why I offer special discounts and services to these heroes. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home or invest, I'm here to guide you through the process, ensuring you get the great. Whether you're looking to buy or sell or invest, I'm here to guide you through the process, ensuring you get the best deal possible. My goal is to make sure the real estate process is as seamless as possible for our heroes so they can focus on what truly matters, serving our community. If you're a first responder, military, healthcare professional, or teacher, let me help you save money on our next real estate transaction. Contact me today by reaching out to pa-heroes.com. Good morning. This is Company Profiles. I am your host, Paul Chase, and today it is my pleasure to talk with Chris Walton from Renovation Sales. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Doing very well. Yeah, been in real estate a long time, and that I was so glad when you started and I met Renovation Sales because I saw a niche that you had found that Lancaster County had been missing for a long time. So introduce yourself and Renovation Sales and about the niche that you are filling.
Yeah, so Chris Walton, I'm married to Christine. We run this business together. We live here in Denver. We've got 2 kids who you may or may not hear during the podcast, and 2 dogs. And we launched, so Renovation Sales is a franchise. It's a national franchise. So there are roughly today 40 of us around the country. And we got into this business after I stepped away from my previous career about 2 years ago. I was working in the aerospace industry, and Christine's got a background in kinesiology and foreclosures. And anyway, after doing that for long enough, we kind of got burned out, and we decided we wanted to do something for ourselves. So we went down that route of looking at businesses, and we got into the franchise world through a friend of ours who runs CertaPro painters. And so we bought in, went through training, learned the ropes, and launched about 2 years ago. And it's been exciting ever since. And what we do, Paul, is we do so the business is designed to do kind of pre-sale renovation. So we work with agents, with home sellers. We come in before they list, or if they're sitting stale on the market for too long. And we do cosmetic updates, things like new kitchens, floors, paint, ceiling, electrical, bathrooms, powder rooms. And we offer financing. So one of the things we hear oftentimes is, well, my sellers would like to update. They know the feedback has been that the home is dated, but they simply can't afford to do it. Well, Renovation Sales recognize that, partnered with FNBO, and we now offer financing. So up to 80 grand for qualified individuals, 6 months, no interest, no payment, which allows most folks to update, get to the closing table, and then pay the loan off after they sell. So kind of a home run in that respect.
So it's really just an advance on their equity that they have in their house.
Yeah. It's a personal loan. It's not a lien on the property. It doesn't affect the sale. And it's been a game changer for us because that was one of the most common pushbacks that we received as owners was that, well, they'd like to do it, but they simply don't have the money to do it. Well, we can give you the money now. So we try to eliminate as many objections as possible.
That's great. What type of, I know you said do you have a particular niche about the size of the home, or are there any limitations? Are you strictly luxury, or does the people that they bought their first house that was they were going to fix it up, but they just never got around to it, and now it's time for them to move on because the family got bigger or whatever. Do you have a particular niche that you're specializing in?
We don't, we do have a niche. The niche is kind of pre-sale. So that's where the financing was designed with pre-sale customers in mind. That 6-month time frame was designed around folks who are selling. But as far as the business goes, I mean, we want to grow the business. We want to expand. So we don't limit ourselves to pre-sale homes anymore. We focused pretty strongly on that in the beginning, but when we launched around the same time the real estate market got kind of weird and all the homes disappeared from the market and nobody was selling. So, Christine and I recognized that pretty quickly, and we pivoted and we started marketing ourselves to home buyers and to homeowners, because from our perspective, from our subcontractor perspective, it doesn't matter if you're selling or if you're staying. If the home is going to sell in a month or in 10 years, it doesn't make a difference to the construction process. So we realized that, and to kind of keep things moving in the right direction, we started taking on different types of projects. As far as size is concerned, we've done work for as little as, I think the smallest one we did was $450. And then the biggest one we've done is in the 6 figures. So it's, there's really when it comes to new construction, I wouldn't want to get tangled up in building a house, for example, but a small addition, we can handle small additions for sure.
Okay. And I think one of the things that you mentioned is, and I would like to explore this, we've seen a lot of people because inventory is so tight, we've seen people buy a house that's close, but not exactly what they want. Can you talk a little bit about the post-sale?
Yeah, so that and homeowner projects have really started to take over our calendar. And, we belong to a group together, and you've heard me say it before, but what's happening, and I think any realtor would probably agree, is that there are so few homes for sale that people are buying not necessarily the home of their dreams, the home they've always wanted. They're buying the only home that's available, maybe in the neighborhood they want or in the zip code they want. And then they move in, so they go to the closing table, they move in, they've got their home, but it's not what they want. It's a canvas. So that's a great customer for us. They move in, we could start construction before they even move in. One nice thing about Renovation Sales is we're not huge. We don't have hundreds of employees. We don't have this massive, machine we have to get moving. It's Christine and I and a small group of guys and girls that we trust very deeply to do the work. So we can get started on things pretty quickly. We've, not to get too off track, but we've signed a number of contracts recently where the homeowner didn't come to us first. They went somewhere else. And that the place they went said, we'd be happy to do it for you. We could get started in December of next year. Like, who's going to wait over a year to start a project? So we did the same project. We started a month and a half later. And that was just because we wanted to do it in the new year. But I mean, that's a huge difference. And now we're 3/4 of the way done. It's still February. So, I mean, yeah. So that moving into the house that isn't perfect, that's a great opportunity for Renovation Sales.
I know for a long time, especially coming like out of COVID and even just before COVID, finding people that could swing a hammer was there's a lot of people that could swing a hammer, but getting on their schedule was a major challenge, just because relative to the size of the demand and the size of the market, there were so few people. And I can remember people were booked out 3, 4, 5, 6 months before they could even come look at it, let alone quote it. So now, do you work with investors at all, or just owner occupiers?
So we'd be open to working with investors, but I don't know that is our niche. I mean, we pride ourselves on the quality of the work we do, the designs that we come up with, the designs that our designers create for us. So it's not Christine and I designing. And I think when someone said to me, his name is Jeremiah. He's an owner in Texas, and he said, "There's 3 things that we can compete on as a business owner in the construction industry. We can compete on cost, we can compete on price, and we can compete on cost, quality, and time. And you can't do all three. You can't be the lowest cost, the highest quality, and get it done the fastest. It's very difficult to do all three. So what Christine and I choose to focus on is the quality and the timing. So that means we do excellent work, we do it in a timely fashion, but we're not the chuck in a truck. We don't have the absolute lowest prices out there, and that's not what we want to compete with. We don't want to be the cheapest guy around.
Gotcha.
When it comes to investor properties, although we haven't done many, it seems like one of the goals there with an investment property is to put in the minimal amount to get the maximum return. And I understand that, but I don't know if they always fit with our business model. We want to do things the right way. We want to use the right people, not just the cheapest possible stuff you could do. And we take pride in what we do. And those two things don't always go hand in hand.
Gotcha. Now, for a post sale where they're not planning on putting the house up on the market, shortly after you're finished, how does that financing work?
Same way. The financing doesn't change. The financing itself doesn't care who the person is or what their situation is. So it's still up to $80,000, up to 6 months, no interest, no payment. So when that 6-month timer runs out and the first payment or the interest starts to kick in, I think it goes up to 10%. I have to check, but FNBO can probably answer all those questions. But even then, it's not a rate.
Okay, so then it just becomes another loan to pay off over time.
It's just a personal loan at that point. Yeah, you can carry as long as you like.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So I want to delve just a little bit into more about you and Christine, because you came from a background. I think you said that you came from aerospace. I came from aerospace. So, we have that in common. So, but what drew you to this? What made you finally decide that? I mean, you woke up one day and said, "Hey, honey, I think we ought to do this," or tell me how did that work out?
Well, I had been in the field of material science since I graduated college, and that was back in 2005. So that was my background. And I went through steel mills and precious metal foundries and powder metallurgical facilities. And most recently, we were producing titanium. I was running a small plant in Berks County making titanium powder for jet turbine blades and medical devices. And I love that job for the 7 of the 8 years I was there. And things changed as they do sometimes. Ownership changed, priorities changed. And the job I was doing changed. And I found myself in the office just all the time, staring at the computer all the time. And it started to weigh on me to the point where I wasn't eating. I was getting stressed. I wasn't sleeping right. And then Christine said to me like 2 years ago, she said, I don't really like you very much anymore. I think I want you to quit your job.
Well, at least she said quit your job as opposed to I want to quit you. So that was good.
Yeah. And man, I'll tell you what, Paul, that's all I needed. Just that little tiny shove was all I needed. And I did. We didn't have a plan, which wasn't smart, but I left. I took some time off, kind of got recentered, found happiness again. And then I think it was like 2 months in, and Christine said to me again, she goes, "Okay, so we're going to get back out there and get a job so we can pay our bills." And I kind of said, "No, I can't work for anybody ever again." So we contacted a guy I met before I left the corporate world. He runs a CertaPro painting franchise. Everyone knows CertaPro; they're huge. And he had said to me, if you ever want to consider doing your own thing, maybe it's a franchise, give me a call. I have a bunch of people I could put you in touch with. And I did that. His name's Tim, and I'm very, very grateful for Tim. And Tim put us in touch with a franchise consultant named Matt, who is phenomenal. The guy's brilliant. And Matt helped us narrow down over like 2 or 3 months of research and calls every week. And we narrowed down a potential franchise that met our budget, that we could afford, that offered us the style of life we were looking for, the type of job we were looking for, and the type of job size that we were looking for. Not selling cups of coffee, but doing larger, fewer things. And he narrowed it down to, I think, 5 or 6 businesses that were available in our general area of Pennsylvania. And then you start to go down that investigatory process to eliminate them. And we knocked off 2 or 3 right away. And Renovation Sales was in the final running with, there was one other business that we were considering. And we met the team at both. We met the team, Mike Valenti and Amanda, and the whole team over at Reno Sales, and we just loved talking to them. And they made us very comfortable. And we're both very, Christine and I are both very handy people. We do a lot of our own home improvement stuff. So it kind of fit. And it seemed, I had been managing individuals for the last 18 years of my career. So managing subcontractors wasn't a huge shift from what I had been doing. And it just worked. And that's kind of how we got to where we are. So a couple of big thank yous, but yeah.
This had to be a major, I mean, you're going from a factory, I grew up in a factory. This had to be a major shift from you saying, okay, I'm no longer do I have that guaranteed program or guaranteed, I don't have that paycheck coming in every 2 weeks necessarily. Yeah. We're going to a brand new world. I grew up in a factory, but not necessarily a construction background, not necessarily a real estate background. How scary was that?
Terrifying. I'm serious. I mean, terrifying.
How did you get over that?
I think, Christine, that's how I got over it, because she's like the most positive person ever and just believes in herself and in that things will work. I'm not that way. I'm very skeptical. I'm very, anxious. But we just took a shot. I said, you know what? I think like the thought of going back into a factory, having a boss again, and having people that you have to direct constantly, and that was such a turnoff to me at that point in time. I couldn't even fathom it after what I had just left. So the only other option was work for ourselves. I mean, how else do you get paid? So we had to do something, and it was terrifying. But we tried it. And Mike and the team at Renovation Sales are very helpful. And we had a bunch of resources to pull upon here. We have family members that run their own business. They were extremely helpful, supportive, and all those. I mean, we probably couldn't have done it without all the help, but it still doesn't feel like we're doing it. But I know that we are. We're making headway, and we're finding some success. But yeah, it's still scary. Even today, it's scary. It'll be scary next year because you never quite know, where the next paycheck comes from. You have to just keep grinding.
So I think obviously you recognize that you've got the support network, you had it around you. I know from my perspective as a real estate agent, it's been so nice to know that you guys are there, because I've had clients that say, hey, a cabinet door fell off. Well, short of going out and buying a whole new bunch of cabinets, but there was no way to tap into that equity without getting a home equity line of credit, which brought its own overhead and stuff like that. Yeah. So knowing that you guys are there has been fantastic for not only what I see as a real estate agent, but as from other agents that I know that you're working with. That's got to be able to great for them to say, hey, we really need to paint this, and by the way, I got a guy. Or we need to freshen up the kitchen, I got a guy. So in Lancaster, I know that there's people doing that more towards Philly, but they always stopped right at the Chester County line, which always irritated me to no end.
Yeah.
It's like, really? 20 more miles. Can't make that. So there's got to be a great niche. How have you been received? Can you talk a little bit about how you've been received by the real estate community here?
Yeah. I mean, so we came into this thing completely cold. I mean, no one knew who I was. No one knew who Christine, many still don't, in all fairness. No one had ever heard of Renovation Sales here in Lancaster. It's a new business. There are plenty of contractors around. There's thousands of contractors, but it's do you trust them? Do you know them? Are they insured? When can they start? What's the quality of work? Um, so it's nice to all have it under one house, and we offer all that. So how were we received? I think a little skeptical at first. We found some wins. One of the first projects we did was with Sotheby's, Ann Lusk and her team, and Brenda, and very grateful to them for giving us an opportunity. And I think it worked well. We did a kitchen. I think we did some deck work, some lighting work, and it came out great. And the house sold, which was, that's the ultimate goal in that case. And that opened up, another small door. Someone saw that and said, "Oh, I'll give him a shot." And we did well there. And then two more people said, "Oh, we'll give him a shot." And it kind of just snowballed. But the hardest thing for us, Paul, in the real estate industry is, and you're an agent, you guys are busy, especially in the spring now. I mean, the last couple of months, maybe not so much, but right now, people are getting busy. And we market ourselves to you, to the real estate agents. And it's tough to get their attention. It's tough to get there's so many people vying for their attention. I mean, how many spam emails and texts do you get in a single day?
Oh, I'll have 200 before I hit, before breakfast.
Yeah. And that's not uncommon. That's like many agents. So, our stuff just gets lost in the mix, and we don't want to bother. We're both normal people, and we understand that it can be bothersome. So we're trying to tread that fine line, get someone's attention, but not kind of piss them off in the process. So it's challenging. But once we do get someone's attention, what we have to say generally resonates. They say, "Oh, I didn't know that was even a thing." And, "Oh, you have financing. Wow, that's great." So they don't have to pay anything right away. And it's like, yeah, this is what we were trying to say. That's why we've been knocking on your door for the last 5 months.
Well, I think that I don't know what all you're doing from an advertising standpoint, but from what I do know, you're doing a lot of networking, just a lot of face-to-face, and it seems to me you're meeting the right people. And I've referred you out, and I've heard good things coming back, even right after just the first initial meeting. I don't think you pulled nail or painted one yet. For some of the folks that I've introduced you, but I'm hearing a lot of great things about you that said, "Hey, met with Chris, great guy, looking forward to working with him." So, kudos to you, and whatever you're doing, it's working, man. You're doing it right.
It means a lot to us. This is our thing. It's all we have. So we're putting everything we have into it. So every touch point means a lot.
Chris, I know that you do a lot of networking through agents, but if somebody says, "Hey, we're thinking about selling," or "We just bought a house," how do they find you? I'm assuming you have a website somewhere.
We do. Our website is www.renovationsales.com. We have a landing page. Simply add a /Lancaster. That'll get you to our landing page. We Googled ourselves just the other day. We were meeting with another gentleman from BNI, and I wanted to see how far up the Google listings we were. So we typed Renovation Lancaster, and we were like the second hit, and that was pretty cool on the first page. That was outstanding. So you could find us that way, or just call. Our number's on our website. Maybe we can share some information on this. And when you call, this phone rings. It's not an answering service. It's not some secretary somewhere. It's when you call the number on our website, I answer, or Christine answers. So you get us. What's better than that?
Which number would you like people to call?
717-455-0806.
Gotcha. Chris Walton with Renovation Sales. Man, you guys are providing a much needed service to Lancaster County. I know the real estate community appreciates you and the work that you're doing for our clients and your clients. And you've got a stellar reputation. You've been in business, 2 years, and you've already got a really fantastic reputation. So that's great.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Thanks again.